Right, well, hello everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. My name's Richard Hurst, and I'm here today to introduce you to Trustpilot, what's behind them, what drives them, and just how much of a big future they have. Delighted that Bobby from Trustpilot is joining me today. Bobby, how are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Really good, thank you. Really good. Loads to get through here today, so I'm going to roll us straight into this first question about Trustpilot. Simply take us back to the start. What was the ambition behind founding Trustpilot?
Well, I think the overall ambition to begin with was really to kind of bridge the gap between companies and consumers. So when Trustpilot was founded back in 2007, this was still like the early days of e-commerce, the early days of really shopping online. And there was definitely a trust issue because people were used to going into a store, looking at the products, choosing things, looking at the person who was selling the products, right? But then came web shops and e-commerce and shopping online, and the same kind of trust wasn't really built with people meeting people. So I think there was definitely a gap there between people actually knowing who they were buying for, if they could trust the company to deliver, and so on and so on. So this was the whole foundation of it, really. That there was a need for it.
There is, isn't there, a real hunger, especially nowadays, with the way consumers' buying activities have changed to really know a lot more about who it's coming from.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially today, there are so many scammers and so many web shops that are fake, and there's so much distrust in general online, right? There's media, there's social media, there's e-commerces. I mean, there's a whole battlefield of people wanting to increase trust and wanting to be trustworthy, right? And at the same time, we as people, I don't want to say consumers because generally we as people need to be aware, need to actually kind of be a little bit not naive, but kind of be a little bit on the fence if we can trust this company and that company, if they live up to our values, if they live up to our standards, and so on, right? And back in the day, people would ask their neighbor, right? This is like the traditional, I would ask the guy next door, hey, I'm looking for an insurance company. What do you recommend? Do you know anyone? They would ask their uncle or their aunts or anyone. I don't know about you, but I never call my parents for any advice on who to shop from and who to buy from. And I think I think the internet really took that kind of word of mouth and put it online. So people don't ask the neighbor anymore about insurance companies or travel agency, whatever. They kind of people go and do research online. And I definitely feel and believe that Trustpilot is on that journey. It's on that decision making journey to figure out who to choose from. This is why we're here. We're here to basically help. Yeah.
So take us into the analytics side of it. We talk about what the consumer's looking for, but I suppose there's the advantage for the business here as well, and the businesses who sign up to be part of it. So what sort of analytics do you provide to them when businesses take up your premium services?
Well, yeah, I mean, first and foremost, as you said, we're here for the consumers, right? So our platform is free for consumers to use, and it's free also for businesses to use. I mean, any business can use us for free. They can get access to their profile. They can have access to the back end. And in there, you can see a variety of things with your reviews. You can see when does a review actually come in, what's the frequency, what's the volume, are there any points where you get more reviews, what are the tendencies. And then we have a few add-on modules, of course, that you can buy. That's our product. And with these modules, businesses can get a very big insight to what's actually going on in the business every month, every quarter, every year. So for instance, if you get 1,000 reviews, right? And you want to do some statistics on and analytics on what are people actually talking about, right? What are they actually saying? You could, for instance, see, okay, the majority of people are really happy about our website and about our products, but we have issues with delivery. So you can actually see this, you can see the tendencies of people talking about the same things. Then you as a business know, okay, this is where I actually have to tweak. I mean, we've seen examples where companies have excellent reviews, and every time they get a 1-star review, it's about uh, consumers trying to get to them by the phone and they're not picking up the phone. It can be something as small as that, but when you work in a company, you're not always aware of it, so you get aware of it. And when you have these things, you can of course improve. Because I think every single company in the world wants to improve. Doesn't matter if you opened up shop yesterday or if you're 100 years old, you want to improve. And who's better to help you really than the outside voices that are your consumers, right? I mean, they're the ones actually going through the experience and journey and buying from you, right? So I think getting their feedback and taking that little data point and making it into big data, that's really, really interesting, because we had a bunch of years where people were talking about big data. What's big data? How can we use big data, right? Well, I would say every single review in Trustpilot, maybe even every single word, is a little bit of data. And when you turn that into the big data, you see the tendencies, and you as a business can, of course, improve whatever you're doing. So that's
sorry. And have you been able to find that in as things have grown, there are so many more analytical points that you can help a business focus on? You know, back in the day, it may have been a few basic levels, but now I suppose, you know, the possibilities keep changing and keep growing with the ways people can analyze the service they're giving.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, we have a lot of businesses growing, and everyone knows if you grow a business, you get more challenges, right? If you open up a business in your garage and you sell stuff out of your home, you have small challenges. Whenever you grow and expand, you get more challenges. So if you have 10 locations and you expand to 20 locations, and you have in the beginning one web shop, which is in English, and you translate that to Spanish and French, and you try to expand, of course, you'll have different challenges, right? And with Trustpilot and with gathering reviews, you can actually see, for instance, which of the locations are performing very well, which of the locations are the consumers super happy about, and which locations is there a, you can say, issues with, challenges with, where we have a lower satisfaction rate. And then when you can see, okay, I have 20 stores, and out of these 20 stores, one of them has a very low satisfaction, you can go in and find out what's the actual issue. Is it a unexperienced staff? Is it training? Is it a high volume of customers? Are we in an area where it's populated and there's a lot of interest, and so on and so on? You can go in as a business to actually figure this out with what we call location reviews, right? This is just one part of many areas in Trustpilot. But again, like I said, I mean, any company that just wants to grow a little bit will face challenges, right? So again, if you get the feedback from your customers, it's probably going to help you.
Now, there's been quite a bit of coverage recently of when reviews come through for products, for companies, that sometimes they're not always 100% genuine. You know, they're bought in for all sorts of fraudulent reasons. How does Trustpilot ensure that the reviews that businesses receive are genuine ones that are posted?
Yeah, that's always a question I love, because our ideal and our mission is really to have as genuine reviews as possible. That is our main goal and criteria. We have created a fraud detection system, which is very intelligent, very clever. It's been modernized and developed within several years. It looks at various data points, such as IP addresses and characteristics. It actually means that every single time a review is posted on Trustpilot, instantly afterwards, it goes through our fraud detection system. So we go in and actually every single review, we try to verify and see if there's anything here that is a red flag. Then it goes over to our content integrity team, and they, with the software, of course, have to go in and review the review, so to speak. that being said, the vast majority of the reviews on Trustpilot are genuine because people have to go through a phase where they have to give their email address and they have to code and they have to kind of create a profile and write a review, right? So the vast majority is genuine reviews. But that being said, even if you take our fraud detection system, besides that, if, for instance, a company tries to go and cheat the system and get reviews that are fake, fraud, and so on, we have whistleblower systems, and we have various different things to actually go in and figure out if they're fraud or not. And we do detect fake reviews still, and we do take measurements to remove them, and we do give warnings to companies, and they're against our guidelines and policies. So it's the internet. It's impossible to be completely perfect. It's impossible to get every single fake review away from every single platform. But without saying anything negative about anyone else, I think we in Trustpilot have done so much and will keep doing so much to have as genuine reviews as possible.
I mean, that sounds like an incredible amount of investment just purely in that part of the business. I mean, have you been surprised or not? I don't know about just how much that's required attention.
It's a lot of attention. I mean, we have, I don't know how many employees who work in content integrity. I think it's, I don't know, 30, 50 employees, something like that. We have a lot of people working with content integrity, which is not part of the commercial part of Trustpilot. They don't work with getting in new contracts or renewing contracts or doing PR or doing brand. They're only working with actually having the most genuine reviews possible on the platform. But that kind of investment for us is crucial. And that's the actual ROI in Trustpilot, because we want to be a trusted platform. We want to be the most trusted platform in the whole online atmosphere where it is a battle. So for us, it's an investment we have to do. And it's something, I think it's something everyone in the company actually agrees on. So everyone in Trustpilot, no matter which part of the company you're working on, if it's HR or support or finance or whichever, if there's one thing we all agree on, one thing we all want to do is actually have as genuine reviews as possible. And that's something we also provide to the consumers, that you can trust us, and it's something that we also echo to the companies. And again, besides all the systems we have and the employees we have on board and the whistleblowers and so on, businesses also always have an opportunity to actually go in and find a reviewer who leaves a review. So if you as a company feel you're getting a fraud review, you can go in and you can actually find a reviewer, ask the reviewer to get back to you, or you can report it to our compliance, our content integrity team, and then they go in and they have to investigate the actual review. So I think we have numerous different elements where we can go in and actually figure out if each single review is genuine or not. We care a lot about that.
And whilst you're talking about that, you know, the amount of work and effort you put into that side of it, what else in your opinion makes Trustpilot different from its competitors? What sits you above them, do you think?
I mean, I've been here for quite a few years now. What I really love about Trustpilot is that we're open and we're free for all. Closed platforms, you can have a closed platform, but that's your decision to have a closed platform. We want to have an open platform. We want to have it because basically Trustpilot is a kind of freedom of speech. It's kind of democracy, you know, everyone gets to say what's on their mind. And if we kind of go back, you know, 20, 30 years ago, I think communication was in a way with businesses that it was one-way communication, right? Businesses, they would communicate through the radio or through TV or through ads in the magazines and so on. It would be one-way communication. I mean, you know, companies could say what they wanted to say. But today with the internet and with Trustpilot, consumers have a voice, and that voice, that freedom of speech actually matters. it holds companies accountable in a good way, and it also brings in the dialogue, because previously there was no dialogue. It was just companies that communicated right one way. Now with this dialogue, I think that's extremely unique, that you have companies and people speaking with each other, dialogue on an open platform that everyone can read, and everyone can also make their own mind about what they're reading. Um, and I love the fact that I could go buy something from a web shop in Italy while sitting in Denmark, and not having to fear who I'm buying from, because I have a place like Trustpilot. I can go and check that company. And someone from Italy who has maybe never been in Denmark, where I am at, they can go buy from something from a shop in Copenhagen, and they can go to Trustpilot and read about, is there anyone else who've had a good experience with this Danish company? So we're kind of bridging the trust between companies and people, but at the same time across borders. And I really love that about Trustpilot.
I suppose it is that ability, isn't it, to connect this, where we live in a global state now, where business is done, like you say, across borders. That's quite an empowering thing, isn't it, to be able to give the customers that relationship with businesses that definitely wasn't there before.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's a privilege to work in a place like Trustpilot, in my opinion. I love working here because I love the products and our vision, and I love the fact that we put consumers first. And again, I would rather say people than consumers, because we really put people first, and try to figure out, hey, how can we help everyday people make decisions online even better? Can we impact that in some way? Can we help people in some way, so they feel more safe and more secure and more comfortable buying online, right? And if we can help people feel more secure and comfortable and trustworthy, they will of course buy from the companies that they can see have, for instance, 4 or 5 stars. Doesn't matter where in the world they are located, but if they seem trustworthy, then it's okay to buy from here. And yeah, so it's a privilege to work at a company actually who embraces that as a mission.
And it feels like a real win-win for both parties here, because like you say, you take away that fear element for the consumer, and then that benefits businesses who aren't being held back by a customer's fear of, okay, well, the product looks good, the website looks okay, but I'm still unsure about buying.
Exactly, it does. As a consumer, there's hundreds of benefits. As a business, there are so many benefits, but it seems like businesses sometimes need an eye opener to actually see the benefits. I think many businesses that I've experienced come on board Trustpilot and get super happy afterwards, because they get to know their consumers even better. Because if you have an e-commerce, if you're selling online, or selling a product where you don't meet your actual customers, how do you actually know who your customers are? How do you know? You know some facts maybe because they put in their address and their gender or something, but you don't actually know your customers as if you had a open store and they came in every day, right? So if you're online and you're selling, and your customers leave reviews about their experience, then you get to know them a little bit more, and then you get to know what you're doing great. So for businesses, not just to sell a product, but for businesses to actually get the feedback that they know, this is what I'm doing good. This is why my products are selling. This is what people love about my business. Let me keep this up. Let me keep improving, and keep on providing the service I do, and so on, right? And it's all about listening, right? Because if you listen to the people who's buying from you, that dialogue is worth so much more uh, than what you probably think about when you open up the business to begin with. But it will help you grow, definitely.
And how great that Trustpilot is there, not just to provide that that feedback, but to know it's genuine and reliable as well. And that's why the service sitting there as it does between the two is so important, rather than just it not be there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if there's one thing I can guarantee with Trustpilot, and there's very little guarantees in life in general, but if there's one thing I can guarantee with Trustpilot is we will never stop working on having as genuine reviews as possible. We will never stop improving our platform to be as authentic as possible.
And that's all we can ask. That really is. Bobby, thank you so much for chatting to us. By the way, with the name Trustpilot, do we know where that came from?
Yeah, it was Peter, our founder and CEO. He came up with the name. There's no like hidden meaning behind it or anything, but the core of it lies in the name trust. That's it.
And whenever we're flying, we really want to make sure we trust our pilot, I suppose.
Oh yeah, for
Out
sure.
of all the
for sure.
relationships we want trust in, that's one that's really, really up there, isn't it?
Definitely, definitely.
Bobby, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time, and I hope everybody's been able to just learn not just more about Trustpilot and what they do, but why they do it, and the core reasons and the culture behind it.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good day.